back, everybody. How you doing? It's me, Fillmore.
Hi, guys. It's Tatiana with the Flash Podcast here to process all our feelings about DC TV this week.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. It was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a whole lot. And starting out, I mean, you know, there were 4 shows. It took me through an emotional roller coaster. All of the shows kind of did this weird thing that's kind of like, used to be a throwback to Star Trek, where they take something that's happening in modern day society, but like put it in kind of like a fictional kind of world to kind of like tell a story so you can kind of relate to it.
Right.
Everybody was kind of doing that.
Yeah. Everyone had a, I don't know, everyone was speaking to a larger theme this week, for sure.
Right. That was like something that's going on kind of in society now.
So we had previously discussed which one was our favorite of episode of the week. So I'd like you guys to let us know what your favorites are before we get into our number one for this week. They change. They're constantly evolving. So, Supergirl.
Obviously. And by the way, we love all the shows. Obviously, we wouldn't be here. We love the shows, passionate. But I'm the same way. My favorite one this week was Supergirl for maybe some different reasons than you.
Right.
Why was it your favorite this week?
I feel like all the new characters are gelling so well. Like they're all fulfilling an important purpose in the story. And I think that we're getting to know so much more about Kara as a person, not just someone who's hiding the identity of Supergirl. You know, seeing her explore her passion for journalism without necessarily being that good at it yet.
It's like a work in progress.
Exactly. It's great to see her develop as a human, so we see that she's not infallible. And we even saw that in her Supergirl side, because this week it was Maggie and Alex who really sort of kicked ass and took names, and she was just their backup.
Yeah, it was kind of like, you noticed, like when they were investigating the alien in the trunk. I mean, we'll get to all of the step by steps, but when they were doing the alien in the trunk thing, she kind of like, well, I'm not really needed here. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, now the thing that I was feeling about this particular one, the character development is great. The other thing I like too, because like I love the DC universe, the comics, the old cartoons, and for me, you know, it's always the throwback references. I love the fact that this particular episode harkened back to that episode of the Justice League Unlimited when they had Roulette on there, and in that particular episode, instead of being Supergirl, the ringer that came in was Wonder Woman.
Oh,
you know?
there you go. Yeah, so they've got so many great homages. That's
exactly.
So true. You can tell they love the universe as much as you do.
And they threw down big time on it this time, and I totally love that. So that's why this one was a favorite of mine. Character development, and then those nods to the actual overall universe that is D to the C.
So the episode was called Survivors, and we started off with another survivor who had a story very similar to Kara's, and that is Mon-El. We saw Daxam and the destruction of that planet, which I thought was a really well done scene, and it really helped to connect to this character who we don't really know much about yet.
Yeah, it was really great seeing the destruction of it too. It was you know, a lot of times when you watch the destruction of a home world, like Krypton, you see it from space, you see the big kaboom, you see the little go out, kind of like Death Star
I'm
destruction.
laughing, but it's not funny. It's very upsetting.
But here, it was like for a moment you were on the planet, you know? So before the big explosion, you got to see the stuff coming in, destroying the temples and destroying the landscape. You got to see the people on the ground, you know, like running for their lives, trying to, you know, get out of the way of the impending doom.
Yeah, and even meeting the prince. You know, like, we got, like, a whole backstory in just one scene with not very little dialogue. That you see a totally different side to the Daxamites, just based on this one interaction, than you know from what Kara has told us.
Right. And no matter whether or not he's a jerk or not, like Kara and Kara's holographic mom thing.
Yeah, he died with his people.
Yeah, he died with his people. And the fact that he sent somebody else off and he decided to, as they say, go down with the ship, that's the sign of some character and a true leadership ability.
Yeah, I was kind of sad that we didn't get to see anything more from him again. I was like, well, that's the end of the prince.
You know what? You know, in this world, in these shows, there's always flashbacks. You want more Prince?
I could get
not that Prince. You want more Prince, and there's probably going to be a flashback coming up.
Yeah, that's true.
Know?
That's true. And who knows? Maybe they're not all dead. Maybe someone's alive.
Oh, see, mind blown.
Yeah, but yeah, we got to see a lot more of Mon-El now that he's sort of getting to know the world that he's now living in, and you know he's trying to get closer to Kara, and he's also maybe reaching out to Win, some other characters. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But but it was a really good episode for him.
Yeah.
and he's been merged well into this world.
And it's interesting, you talked about it. I mean, if you don't mind, I can maybe go there.
Do it.
It's really cool watching him go through that learning process. And you know what? It's been, I remember a lot of shows where they have like the fish out of water.
Right.
Where the person is trying to figure out, what's going on. And it's a good place for humor. And what I was really feeling, I was so digging the fact that Wynn is kind of like the Supergirl Cisco now. He's got the one-liners. He's got the whatever.
No one can replace Cisco.
No. Exactly. But he's kind of doing that whole thing. He's the guy that's kind of training. Oh, I can create the whatever.
Right.
He's
they sort of found that
lines.
spot for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, and now he's good at comedic relief. He's good at sort of being the human touch in the DEO.
All right, Fillmore's throwback moment. Leaping tall buildings in a single bound. I was like, yes. They went right back, and they managed to fit it in there, and they made it seem organic. And and if anybody.
And it's fun because that Wynn knows what he's saying.
Exactly.
Like it's a throwback for him too.
Yeah. Very, very cool moment.
But yeah, they had like a fun little bromance, drunken bromance situation, and we got to see them get into a little bit of trouble, which you can't do with Kara because she's already been here for 10 years. Like she's a little bit of the fish out of water syndrome, but at the same time, she's already processed being a human, and she already feels, like probably half and half.
Yeah, exactly.
Clark is like mostly human. Kara's like half and half, and now finally she's got her own little alien protege.
Yeah. This is what it was like to be when she came here.
Exactly.
She can kind of she's switching spots again, which is, remember last week we talked about that with Flash and Jesse Quick.
Right.
Where all of a sudden now she's on the other foot. Now we're doing it in Supergirl.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love seeing our heroes sort of grow into the mentor position. That's nice.
And what's really cool is when you're an innocent person like Mon-El, you can make these mistakes and it's not offensive because, the whole personal space thing, she's having private mommy, hollow mommy time.
Yes.
Mommy, I know this boy and he's really cute and I like him. Oh, what are you doing here? And he didn't even realize he comes in and does he leave? No. He just like walks up and goes, who's this? Calls her mom a babe.
Right? Because you can't, so Wynn is fun, but he's also a little bit like, I don't know what's going on with him. Like, remember in the pilot when he thought that Kara was a lesbian because she wasn't into him?
Right. Yeah.
And now he's like, oh, you should call attractive women babes. I'm like, okay, Wynn. I guess someone needs to teach you some manners.
Guys, we're my dudes. You know what? For every guy who thinks it's not me, it's her, we kind of do that. I'm not saying it's right.
Don't do that.
It's wrong.
Don't do that,
wrong.
boys.
When I did it, it was wrong. When you do it, it's wrong. When Wynn did it, we're wrong.
But yeah, it was interesting because you see Kara pushing away at first, and I thought for a second I thought, oh, she's still not totally sure she can trust him, even though they had that nice moment last week. But then we learned that she feels guilty too. She feels like she's partially responsible, or like her family's responsible for the destruction of his home planet. Right. And that is a really big burden to bear. So that was a great scene that they had.
Like we talked about too, this whole thing of like taking real issues, the fact that she had a bias, she had a prejudice going in, and then having her eyes opened.
Yeah.
I think this is a really cool moment here, and a really cool thing that this show and all the other ones are doing. But I mean, they're stepping up their game. I mean, this week is like, for me, the Supergirl.
I really loved it. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have to move on to another topic because we're just going to talk about Mon-El for 20 minutes.
Okay.
But Maggie and Alex got to investigate alien on alien violence, which that's a metaphor for the real world.
Where's my camera? Where's my camera? You get it? Be on BC? Does it make, do I have to say it? I won't, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Again, we don't have to say it. We don't have to put it out there. We're not trying to be preachy. But as soon as you heard alien on alien violence, boom.
Yeah, and then of course it's not alien on alien violence. Like that's not the real issue.
Right.
So it was great the way that they incorporated that storyline and the way that they used John and McGann, and it led us. So we got some awesome tension with Alex and Maggie, and I know that's the other reason this is my favorite right now, because I am super shipping this. Like, I'm so ready for this to happen.
Let's get it on.
But I'm also ready for the slow burn, because the slow burn is like the best part, right? Because once they get together, you're counting down to the breakup. So for now, I'm counting down to the union, which is the best part.
Well, see, you know what I said? I said this. If you weren't, last week I made a comment about when a television show kind of starts a relationship and then does that premature jump into it real quick. I kind of like that. I like that thing. Let it savor, let it simmer. Just like, there's the relationship.
Exactly. You want to make us want it.
Exactly.
And right now I want it, and I'm ready to wait a little.
Yeah, exactly. You smell the cooking.
I'm ready.
You know?
I can hold on
Do you
for a little
smell
bit.
what the cops are cooking?
But I want to say that Berlanti did tell Entertainment Weekly, he told Natalie Abrams at Entertainment Weekly, that if you see that chemistry, then you're on the right track, and that you should be happy with what's coming. So I'm glad, because I hate it when they bait things.
Right.
Especially with an LGBT relationship. You don't want them to just like sort of hint at it and then drop it. Like you want to be able to see that flourish.
Right. What was cool is how they did it organically.
Yeah.
The moment that they got there to go into the Roulette Fight Club,
Yes.
they saw each other. They hadn't put the mask on. Look, even if they weren't feeling it, I was feeling it. I'm like, oh, don't they look cute?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
y'all should hook up.
It was so great.
Give her your number. Text her. Seriously, because like they look great together. They
do.
And you are upset that there's a girlfriend involved.
I know, guys. The second that I saw that blonde chick came up and kissed Maggie, I was like, "Get out of here! Who are you?" But it's okay. It's okay. Obviously, there had to be an obstacle.
Oh my gosh.
At least her name wasn't Kate Kane. Like if her name's Kate Kane, then I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. I'm stuck.
Oh my God.
But yeah. So it'll be interesting to see Alex dealing with her feelings because we don't know.
Yeah.
We have no idea. Like, does she know already that she's interested in women, or is this her wake-up call?
Right, yeah, I don't
You
know. But you know what? I think that they have a great working relationship, and maybe this odd sexual tension will help make them a more symbiotic partnership, at least maybe just professionally.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Speaking of their working relationship, it's time to talk about Roulette.
Okay.
Let's do it. So Roulette was really the mastermind behind the mystery of the episode, which is like, why are these aliens turning up dead, being killed by other aliens, right?
Right. By the way, take a look at the picture. The picture we have back here. Oh,
Yeah.
Take a look. The thing that was really cool, straight up. I mean, we don't have a picture of the fan art. Go on your computer, Google the fan art. The way they had the snake tattoo going around the back, straight out of the comic book. Again, drop the mic. Supergirl nailed it.
Yeah, they really are so faithful. They're really faithful to the comic.
To the intellectual property.
Yeah, exactly. Without having to do it like a paint by numbers, same storyline, you get that same feeling that you get when reading the comics, which is great.
Yep. So Roulette, she's in there. She's the mastermind behind it. The fight's going on.
What happened next?
Okay. Well, the thing was funny is, for those of you who listen, as you see, like I'm the new guy here at Stream.tv, and you may have seen David do his After Flash thing, and he talked about how you go in there, and then all of a sudden, his point was talking about how people were getting knocked around, I mean, it was no holds barred.
Yeah, it was like some gladiator,
really,
like dog
really
fight
was.
nonsense.
It was absolutely they were throwing down.
But she's like in the middle of it, just like nothing touches her.
Nothing. And the fact that it was kind of cool, that was it Maggie had called her in, had backup. You saw the fight going on. And like I said, it was really cool how they had the same level of intenseness. I mean, it was like a rumble. It was a major rumble, super powered rumble inside this facility. And that was a moment that was like, I was glad. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And I was glad they didn't hold back,
And I really love the way that Roulette had this position that's very divisive, right? That it's just like, she can make these people fight each other because they're too distracted by like survival on like an immediate level to think about the greater good,
Which begs the question, what does she have? No, fairly, because in the other story, in Roulette, the anime series, she had a device that would be implanted in their ear.
Like Suicide Squad.
And it was like Suicide Squad, and it would control your mind. You were kind of like a zombie. No.
Right.
They could turn it on, and you were like, I will do your bidding.
And this is like, they just do it out of fear.
That's right. They're doing it out of fear. She's got to have pictures. Maybe she's got some sex scene pictures or something. I don't know. But,
Yeah, or you know what? And they didn't touch on this, but there's also like the issue of like maybe systemic bias against aliens, right? So like now that aliens have to be registered, like they can't, and maybe some places they can't get a job or whatever, and so like they have no other way of making money. I don't know.
But
there's definitely something that they can delve deeper into.
Because we already saw that she's got some type of power, which I mean, I'm getting a little ahead. The fact that she gets arrested and then like
immediately,
boom, she's out.
Yeah.
But it's got to be something big. You have super powered beings who will just walk in without that little ear implant thing that's controlling your mind, and they will do whatever it is you say do just because you said do it.
Lily Mitchelson says, I thought Roulette was a strong villain who can really challenge Kara in the same way Lex Luthor does to Clark. And I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
If they bring her back, she makes a really formidable villain because it's not physical. Like we said, like she's not doing anything to Kara, and when Kara's fighting, she's not fighting roulette, but she's like a puppet master. She's like the mastermind here.
She's pressing all the buttons. That what makes a real interesting villain, just like you said with Lex Luthor. Here you have somebody, you would think that the villain that would be the most formidable would be somebody like a Zod. And here you have just a regular person, you know, who somehow can wrap you around your finger and using what they have as their resources, just seriously control the day.
But I loved that basically sort of the moral of the story in a way was that they all had to come together, right? And fight roulette, right? Or look to, you know, like when Kara gave that speech, like, you know, we're all the same, you know, like even though we've got differences and we're fighting about different things, we want to come together.
Yeah.
So that was good.
So that was great. Also, it was kind of, I gotta tell you, a little thing that upset me though was Supergirl just getting slapped around. I mean,
yeah, when when Draga
was like, grab the cake, grab, swap. It was like you know what it reminded me? Oh my gosh, it reminded me of Hulk and Loki a little bit. It was like bam, and then he dragged her over. I'm like, please stop, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go.
But it was great because we got to see like it let the other characters have a chance to step up.
Right, and then I'm going back to roulette. I mean, and roulette again, the puppet master behind, you know, instigating and causing all of that to happen while not getting one single bit of dirt on her own hands.
Exactly.
You know? That was really cool. That's what makes her a real formidable villain.
So the other two characters who were a big part of Roulette's storyline and of the Fight Club was Megan and John Jones, right? So we went through like a bunch of roller coasters of emotions with Megan, right? You know, it's like first it's like, oh, she's just friendly to John, but she's she's just keeping some secrets. Oh, the secret that she's keeping is that
she's responsible for killing his entire race of people.
But like that wasn't even the only, like first the secret is that she's in the Fight Club, right? And then it's like, oh, leave John because I want to help you. Oh wait, now you've been captured. And then I was like, oh, I have to fight you. Oh wait, now I can't kill you, right? And then it's like, I'm glad that we are survivors together. Just kidding. I am a white Martian.
You know what else
like, dang. I love how they've used Megan so far, and I feel like every step of the way you can understand her fears, and you can understand why she isn't, you know, speaking out the way that John is, or why she's not taking that same stance, especially once you realize she's a white Martian.
Right. Well,
you know?
the other thing about Megan that I thought was really intriguing to see what happens down the road is, like, is she really just hiding out? See, if you you've got a secret, you know who you are, the Fight Club, and also you're responsible for the total destruction of another racist planet. Okay. And are you really hiding out because you feel such remorse, you just kind of want to get on with your life?
Right.
Or are you hiding out because you fear some sort of retribution? Like, how is John Jones going to react?
That's going to be painful. That's going to be painful.
Once he discovers.
I don't want to see that. But like what he was saying, like that she was punishing herself for surviving.
Yeah.
But like she is punishing herself, but not for surviving.
Yeah.
I'm sure that she didn't actually kill anyone or whatever. You know, I'm sure it was just her people. She didn't do it. I don't believe that she did it because I like her too much. But what do you think?
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay.
No, I mean, did you watch Young Justice?
No, I did not watch Young Justice.
So I'm pretty sure that in Young Justice, it was that she had like family members on both sides.
Oh, okay.
And so she was a white Martian, but she also had green Martian family. So I feel like.
You know, it could be like that. It could be kind of that Finn thing from Star Wars. You know, like I'm seeing what's going on. I'm seeing what they're doing. I happen to be a white Martian, but I don't want to be involved.
Yeah, or maybe she's the white Martian she was talking about.
Wow.
Remember when she was like, oh, the white Martian like took me out of the camp and saved me, and then maybe she is that white Martian.
It'd be great to see
someone.
You know, any other thing you want to hit? Like any other, like, because there was so much.
Oh,
I don't want to spend too much time because you know there's so much.
I mean, we can just touch on because a lot of people in the comments are mentioning Lena Luthor, right?
No. What? Oh yeah. My point about that is, come on. Once you owe a Luthor,
right?
What's on the other side of that? You know?
Yeah. Lena Luthor obviously is going to be the Lex Luthor of this series.
Right.
Roulette can be a formidable enemy like Lena, or like Lex, sorry, but Lena is clearly on that path. And right now she seems like super nice, she seems like super helpful, but then when she said like...
Oh, but it's the way she said,
you'll owe me.
You'll owe me, you know, exactly. You know something's up. Only the first one's for free.
Right. And of course she doesn't necessarily know that Kara is Supergirl right now.
Right.
But once she finds out...
If she finds, but if she, even if she doesn't, I just think the fact that if you control Kara, you kind of control Supergirl, you know? So whether she finds out or not, that's the thing. Again, you do not want to owe a Luthor, period, you know?
Yeah, Bass Clarinet wants a shout out, so
hey, what's up, Bass
Clarinet's
Clarinet?
getting one.
What's up?
That's a cool instrument.
It's very cool.
All right. Do we have any other Supergirl things that we want to...
I think that is it.
Oh, wait. Next week, don't forget, because one problem having Supergirl this season is that it's so obvious that they were like, we wanted James to be the love interest, and that didn't work out for us for whatever reason. We decided we didn't like it, and now we don't know what we want to do with James. So finally, next week is going to be his time to shine as the Guardian.
I hope so, because a couple of times they set him up to like do something, and he kind of like begins it,
and then they just drop it. They just drop it, and I'm like,
I mean, crossing my fingers, see what happens.
Mikad deserves it, and I think that like it's like the one wheel that's not working right now, and it's not. I don't think it's not working because of him. I think he's great, but they haven't found the right place for him yet.
Right, exactly.
And I think that hopefully being a vigilante will help with that. And I hope that, I know they're having the secret keeping, right? He's not going to tell Kara at first, and he's going to like rope Winn into it. But hopefully they'll realize that it's better to work together.
Well, this is the season in which people are being assigned different roles, and they're giving them different duties to do. So duty. So
you are a child.
but, you know, they're giving them different duties to do. So hopefully this is what he's going to do. He'll step in, step up, and be the man that we want to see him be.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, well, listen, by the way, since this episode aired on Halloween, we thought it'd be kind of cool to show you some of the costumes that you out there, Stream.tv, have been posting and sending to us. So, hey, take a look at some of these DC Universe Halloween costumes.
Yay! Here we are, ready to talk The Flash.
Flash!
The episode was called Monster, and there were quite a few monsters, and yet none at all. So,
you know, it's funny. After I watched the episode, I felt the episode should have been like a Madea special, the Book of Revelations. Hallelujah! This is just revelation after revelation after revelation.
Yeah, and starting with that monster not being a monster. It was a freaking hologram.
Really? Yeah, I know. It was. You call it monster. We gets it up. We see the Godzilla thing going on, and you know.
Did you think it was gonna be a hologram? Did you figure it out?
You know what? I didn't think about it. So it wasn't like I didn't figure it out. I just kind of thought, monster. I didn't come up with the hologram thing. But I was wondering, since all of the other metas are kind of like humans that are something.
You're like, it can't be
why in the
really
world,
be a monster.
you know, all of a sudden it's a monster. The only thing that's like, you know, well, there's a shark, you know.
Right, but it's still kind of human.
And Gorilla Grodd was experimented on. But, you know, you get what I'm saying. It's like, this seemed out of place. So I was suspicious. I didn't go hologram, but I was like, seriously, like, what you talking about, Willis? It was like, something's not right.
Like Lily Mitchelson, I knew it was a hologram. I mean, I didn't know it was exactly a hologram. But as soon as I heard monster, like you, I was like, there's no way it's going to be a monster. It's going to be fake. Somehow it's fake. And then once they started talking about electricity, like, and they mentioned, like, oh, no one was hurt. And I was like, okay, well, obviously it is a vision.
Right.
It is not real.
Right.
So I think this episode, it was ambitious. But, and so you can see that in the theme, that all the themes kind of connected. But, like, I don't know, maybe there was, like, maybe they tried to stuff too much into it, you know?
But the thing that was weird about this episode, okay, so last week I talked about how it was kind of cool to see them do a throwback to kind of a season 1 episode. Kind of like that Smallville thing where it's like, you know, villain of the week, villain of the week, villain of the week. Season 1, that was kind of like the thing, and then they got into the story with Wells, and then it became a cool, entirely different thing, season 2. It was refreshing for them to step back and do kind of a villain of the week thing. And then they came back and said, well, yeah, how about no villain?
Yeah, right? I'm ready to go back to Dr. Alchemy now. Let's take me back.
Come on.
But yeah, we find out that the monster is actually run by a 15-year-old kid. And this kid is like scared and lonely, and he's been bullied, right? And so I thought it was a sweet, that's not the right word. But you know, like, to call back to like how that kind of behavior does make people want to lash out. It does make people feel isolated. And everyone goes through that to some degree, right?
Well, again, talking about how we were talking about real things, you know, bullying is it's always been huge, but now it's getting the attention that it deserves. And so they found a way to actually work it in there. And you didn't really see, now, I gotta admit, you didn't really see that coming till the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it was a hologram, who's doing it?
We could have, if we had seen like a scene with that kid like in school or something,
then it might have put two
it would have been
together.
interesting, yeah.
Right.
But you know.
Since you didn't, and then that was the topic point. So again, kudos to the CW and then the Flash show, again, taking something and bringing some some awareness to it by putting it out there in this,
Right.
fantasy sci-fi sort of way. You know?
Yeah.
It really does. It's really
And I think it mostly served to get us a better look at Julian Albert. Right? So now we're starting to learn a little bit of his backstory.
Yeah.
And instead of just being butting
jerk.
heads with Barry,
Yeah.
right? But to be fair, he's a jerk to Barry, but Barry is actually not very good at his job. Barry spends more time being the Flash than he does being a CSI.
That's true.
So, it's understandable, but at the same time, Barry's our hero. So we're like, what are you doing, dude?
That's a very good book. Have you thought about that, though? Because in season 1, he was a great CSI
Yeah, he was a great.
guy.
I love
Season
seeing him
2
do a
was
CSI.
guy.
But he didn't.
What is it now?
I honestly think it's just that they haven't spent much time. Like season 2, he was a good CSI, but we didn't see him doing any CSI
Right,
work.
right.
So now they're actually making it part of the story,
Right.
which is interesting.
Right.
Because of course it has to slip at some point. Because even if he moves super fast, it still takes the same amount of time
to
fight,
process the thing.
or to
You
fight
can-
the villain
right.
or whatever.
You can
know?
go get whatever and bring
Yeah.
it back to the lab, but the lab process
Yeah,
is
it's still
the
going to
lab
take 3
process.
hours
Exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you can't speed that up.
Yeah.
So I like that they're bringing that in, and I like that they have an antagonist in the real world for that.
Yeah.
I just hope that we get to see more of Barry doing his job, of Iris doing her job. I feel like all these of Joe doing his job,
Yeah.
because they can all connect back to the meta. There's definitely ways to show these 3 people,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
getting out on the streets, hitting the streets, getting information, tracking
Counting the payment, beat
exactly.
cop, doing that
yeah,
thing,
exactly.
you
Beat
know?
cop or ace reporter or forensic science.
Give me some chips. Give me some Poncherello out there.
Because I love
Or that
the
cycle,
sci-fi
people.
and I love the Flash. I always love the Flash, but I'm here for the characters, and
Right.
I want to see those characters develop outside of just cool CGI.
Right. Well, not to get ahead, but it was interesting watching with Julian. He had this moment where he doesn't like the Flash.
Yeah. Oh,
He
you're
does-
not getting ahead. That's what I should be
Yeah,
talking
he doesn't
about.
like the Flash, and he doesn't like Barry.
Right, yeah.
And it's kind of weird
It's
because
just like, oh, you don't like both of them.
both of them, which is interesting because normally when you have a hero who has, of course, the alternate identity or the alter ego, normally it's one you like, one
And
you
then
don't.
one,
Exactly. Lois.
It's interesting because he doesn't like both for the same
He
reason.
doesn't for the same reason,
Because
right?
they're not reaching
he
their
doesn't
potential.
Yeah, exactly. That was so
Yeah.
odd because
Yeah.
normally there's one side you like.
Yeah.
Lois thinks Clark. It's before she knows Smallville.
Yeah.
Little cow pasture dude, but
Because he
Superman
doesn't take
blah, blah,
risks
blah, blah.
like
exactly.
Superman does. Yeah, exactly.
But to hate them both for the same reason, very unique touch.
Yeah,
I like
it
that.
was, and it was great to see him finally open up to Barry.
In
you know?
Julia's eyes, he's got to be a special kind of loser to
And-
hate them both on so many levels.
And Tom Felton really, I think he gave the best performance this episode.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, but we haven't seen him do that much yet.
Yeah.
But this episode, finally, we get to see why he's here, and we had some seeds for later, which we will bring up.
Okay.
But the other big story of the episode
Yes.
was Caitlin, Killer
Caitlin,
Cross.
another
Killer
revelation.
Cross.
Revelation number 2
Yep.
reveals to her mom. First of
Yep.
all, we find out who her mom is,
Yep.
which was really, really cool. And I can't remember the actress' name, but she's on that show. I have it here. Wait, actress Susan Walters. She's from Vampire Diaries. The actress that played Caitlin's mom.
Yeah.
And so here she.
Oh yeah. She plays everyone's
It's everywhere.
mom.
Yeah,
She's
it's
on Teen Wolf
everywhere.
too.
But
all
now-
the supernatural
right.
moms.
I mean, Caitlin got to the point where whatever. Obviously, there's some mess in the past.
Yeah.
But she decided, you know what? I gotta get past it. I'm gonna go talk to mom, tell her what's up, and see if mom can help me out. Boom. Revelation number 2
Yeah.
of the show. She reveals herself to mom.
Right.
And this weird power she's got
Yeah,
going on.
and the interesting thing is that her powers they seem to be, in this episode at least, affecting her mood, or her mood affects her powers.
I think I think anger management could
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly, 'cause-
could maybe like chill Killer Frost, no pun intended.
Yeah, because before this episode, it seemed like she could control them just fine, and then she just used them to break the glass, and then it's like it affected her physically. But now it's like when she feels unstable, or when she feels trapped, or when she feels mad, they come out, and they come out like evilly, not like average powers.
Yeah.
Like-
Dr. Banner gets mad, he turns into a green hulking beast. Caitlin gets mad, she'll freeze the heck out of
Right.
everything.
So
It's ice baby when she gets pissed.
Yeah.
So-
So I was a little sad because I thought the doctor I was like, well, he's hot, first of all. That guy's hot, and he seems super nice. And then suddenly he turned around and he was like, I'm going to kidnap you and experiment on you.
yeah,
Which then made the mom be like, oh, I'm sorry, honey. I won't tell anyone that this man tried to kidnap you. So forgive me. And it was a little bit rushed, I think.
But I love the way though she just again, another pun. She just chilled about just touching him.
Yep.
You want to touch me? Let me touch you.
Right.
You know? And I think a lot of women wish they had that power for
That's
butthead people
that's
that
true.
get a little close and
I would
push
like
up
to be able
on
to do
you
that.
and don't know your personal space, and they're not recognizing that you ain't feeling them that way,
Yeah.
and you just touch them like, and they're down. She could do that.
But then
And
at the end, too, like, what do you think it meant at the end when her mom left her that message saying, be careful, don't use your powers, because when you do, it's irreversible, right?
Well-
and then she freaking froze that computer.
Again, I think this power is affecting her temperament.
Right.
I really do. And here was this hearing what was considered maybe a little bit of bad news. She couldn't control herself. Just not hearing what she wanted to hear and getting bad news made her just go, ugh.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be sort of like just a reaction. Just a reaction.
Yeah.
Because then she was surprised by it. But
All right, so third revelation?
yes,
Third
tell me
revelation.
what it was.
The revelation. What the heck is up with Dr. Wells? No, I can't even. Can we call him
No,
Dr.
he's
Wells?
not a doctor. He's not a freaking doctor.
You know,
H.R. Wells.
Wells is
which
just a.
we should have realized he was a novelist the whole time.
Like H.G. Wells, exactly. You know,
Exactly. H.R. Wells, H.G. Wells.
H.R. Wells. He's the hype man.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
He's the guy that goes out before Flavor Flav, pumps up the crowd. I got some beats. He's the real act. That's who he is. He's got other people doing his bidding.
Exactly.
And he's just out front going, yo, yo, yo. Okay, check him out. That's
Exactly.
what he does.
And hopefully he will be able to fit into that role from now on instead of just kind of spouting nonsense and inspiring people in that way.
but you know what I thought was cool, though? It was kind of a little misdirect that I actually appreciated in the episode. Because at first I thought that he was maybe a bad guy. You know, the secret, you know, they don't suspect anything. And when you saw him doing that little thing, you're like, oh, so now we know something's up.
Yeah.
Okay? We know he's not who he says he is. And like, what meta thing is he going to bust out being? But it wasn't that. It was like he's trying to do a book.
Right.
You know?
HR, he was fun. I thought maybe it was a little bit too much of that plot because we could have done it in fewer scenes and then devoted more to the monster, devoted more to Julian, etc.
Yeah.
But it was a fun plot. And I just have to say, I see Alex John in here trying to talk bad about Barry and Iris. I see you, Alex. And Barry and Iris is amazing. And Barry's never going to stop loving her. Sorry. I just wanted to say.
Okay, but
I'm sorry. I still love you, though. Whoever you are.
the one, I tell you what I dig about
What?
HR now.
Tell me.
Okay, the way they say goodbye.
Oh, my God.
You got to do it with me. It's
Okay.
like, until next communion. Wait, so
until next communion.
Next communion.
And then also it was
You
like
did that snap.
scrumptious morning or sumptuous
Exactly, it was
morning
like-
for his hello.
That's how we should sign off every episode. Until next communion. That
Oh
was
my God.
the heavy cracking.
And also, his puns and like the movie titles. Like Gladiator was Sweaty Men. Wasn't it Gladiator that was Sweaty Men? And then there was Murder on the Titanic by Alfred Hitchcock. It was like,
Yes,
there's a
Sweaty Men,
murder, but
Murder
we're
on
all drowning.
Titanic.
We're all drowning.
They
It doesn't
drown,
matter.
you know? Those were great
that was
moments,
funny.
though.
Like
Those
those
were great
little
moments.
moments like that, I think are going to make him a great character in future episodes.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
setup for him, you know, I didn't love it as much, but I like who he is.
Right.
I like what he's going to bring to the table.
All right, so my question for you, and I think this is the thing that really kind of how it left us hanging, is Caitlin. Okay, the fact that we know she's Killer Frost. Well, no, she's Frost.
Right.
But will she be Killer
Will she be
Frost?
Killer? No.
You know?
No, you know she's not going to be Killer. Well, actually, what do you guys think?
You know?
Do you think that Caitlin will turn evil for good?
Wait, and here's my other question, because the way they teased the next episode with Wally. Now, you talked about that last week,
yeah, and
I'm like, they heard you.
They know what I'm talking about.
The CW writers, producers, and executive, right there. Tatiana, hire her, because she's like writing the stories for you, right here at the stream.tv.
There you go.
Seriously.
But yeah, Wally next week looks. I think that next week looks not. It's not next week. Vote, guys. Vote.
True.
But it's the week after next week.
Yeah, but it's really weird. It's like,
yeah.
again, taking the same characters, putting a spin on them. Is Wally going to be not Kid Flash, but Evil Flash?
Killer Flash.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And is Caitlin not going to be, you know, like Killer Frost, maybe just Thriller Frost? You know, I don't know.
Thriller Frost, Lord.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think that the Wally storyline next week is going to show how much alchemy can control the people. But I also think that it will go along with the same theme, like with the way that Magenta was able to back away from her powers or back away from her meta-ness because Barry basically gave her a really great pep talk. I think that's going to happen with Wally next week, or next episode. You know, like Iris and Joe are going to, you know, be like, calm down, Wally, you're going to be okay.
Talks work a lot all
Yeah,
the time, but when you are dangling that carrot in front, you're tempted by the fruit, you hold up that apple and you want to take a bite.
Right.
So again, is that the condition Wally's in? It would be
That's
great
the
to see.
question.
I can't wait to find out. So,
Final bit is Julian is obviously Alchemy, IMO, and does not know that he is Alchemy.
Okay.
Okay, that's my theory is, and you guys can tell me what your guys' theory is, that Julian suffers from the same thing as Magenta did, which is DID, dissociative identity disorder. So he does not know that he is Alchemy. And whether that means that, whether he came from a different timeline or from a different Earth, because I didn't put this in there, but Alchemy was in episode 22 of season 2.
Right.
When the Earth 2 metas were all shown, you saw Alchemy's outfit. So maybe Julian's from Earth 2, or maybe there just was an Alchemy on Earth 2. But either way, Julian does not know he's Dr. Alchemy, so he has like a opposing, right? Julian's here telling him, these metas are not living up to their potential, and that's why I hate them. And then Alchemy's over here awakening metas to live up to their potential.
It was funny because when you first threw out that theory to me, I stopped and said, well, wait a minute. If Julian's upset because metas aren't living up to their potential, why would he, if he's Alchemy, go around and help them fulfill the potential? But if it's that sleeper cell, remember, like Boomer, season 1, Battlestar Galactica, didn't know that she was a Cylon, and all of a sudden, boom, it triggered. That's what it's kind of like. That's what you're saying. When you said that, I went, oh, I get it. All right, well, that's a lot to think about. And you know what? And obviously, just like us, you love the show. You got memes going on. So we thought it'd be really cool. You guys are always like sending us cool stuff. So check out some of the memes that you sent us for Flash. They're really funny. People are absolutely creatively crazy, goofy people. Love you. Foes, strike up your Legolas. It's Arrow time.
Oh God.
Oh, Arrow. Now, okay, so if you don't mind, I would like to start off the Arrow chat.
Take it away.
Because the Arrow chat, for me, it started out with the team back out there looking like the D-52 Batman and his family. Seriously, because there's not going to be any Batman maybe on the CW, but Arrow has stepped it up. It was straight up. He's got that ferociousness. The team was out there. It's like what, Oliver, can we thoroughly kick butt? And I was like, well, yes, you can. And they're out there doing it.
Yeah, it is. It's so great to see them working as a unit too, and even to see Oliver sort of begrudgingly step into that role. Over the course of the season, we see them take on the mantle of mentor, and even though he's kind of reluctant at first, it's now it's he really is team dad.
Exactly. And he did that thing. Now I've got that moment. You've talked about it on some other on some of the other shows we talked about.
In my life.
You love a character and you either you like them or you get mad because they're not good. Okay, see, I like Oliver, and I'm so glad that he's no longer grumpy old Oliver anymore. It was thank you, man. I mean, sometimes you got to take out the can of whoop ass when they're acting all crazy. But sometimes when they're doing right, then you be encouraging and you step in and like you said, be that cool mentoring kind of dad. That is more encouraging once you get them over the hump of whatever is holding them back or keeping them from performing. And he was out there being that leader, a real team leader, and he led the way. The interrogation scenes were, again, another kind of reminded me of some scenes from The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But he had help doing it, and they all seem to have fun.
Yeah.
Seriously, jacking up people and getting the information.
Yeah, you're seeing Oliver leave the past in a way and starting to move forward, right? Which was something that I think Felicity said to him at the very beginning of the season, we have to move forward.
Right.
And so this is you're starting to see that come into motion.
Exactly.
And not just Oliver's moving forward, but the show is moving forward, right?
Okay, now I have a question for you. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan.
Yeah, you are.
And we all saw the season premiere of Walking Dead. Okay, so when I saw Tobias with Renee, you saw with the torture.
Oh, you had that Negan flashback. PTSD. Yeah.
I mean, I was I was twitching. I was twitching, and I was like, please don't have a bat. Please, Tobias, don't have a bat but he looked. Oh my gosh, he was so bad. Look at him. He was jacked.
Hot. He looked so good.
Okay.
He looked so good when bad things were happening to him. I feel so bad.
So when bad guys are hot, it bothers you. When good guys are hot and getting jacked
Did
up.
I say that a bad guy's being hot bothers me?
No, well, the guy, yeah. When you were talking about the guy with Caitlyn that tried to help
Oh, well,
that was back
it's
with
upsetting to me
that was back
because
with
he was so good looking.
Okay.
It was upsetting
But this
that he
guy
would do that.
in a weird kind of way, if I must say, I
Yeah.
must do if I may man crush for a second. He does look too like hunka to be getting beat up that bad,
Yeah.
Somehow he looks like he could just break out of them. He's kind of got that Henry Cavill kind of thing going on. It should be like boom, but they jacked him up. His face, kudos to the makeup artists, the makeup people. They did a fantastic job. Hearing what he was going through, how they beat him into submission to ultimately reveal.
Oh, and it was so sad
Yes.
that did happen to him because
Right.
I definitely did not think he was going to break. I was
Again,
like, no,
another
there's no way.
revelation.
There's
Yeah,
no way. But
he coughed up Oliver's identity, which was, once that you were like, oh, you knew now the caca is going to hit the fan.
Yeah, but it was
once
great that
happens.
he confessed that to Oliver immediately. Like, they didn't have that a drawn out
Right.
plot. Instead, he's like, let him know what was going on, and then Oliver could come up with and Diggle could come up with a great plan.
Yeah. Oh, and you mentioned Diggle. Okay. He's back in the outfit, y'all.
Oh.
He put on the helmet. He got the gun. He's like, it's time to get busy. And he was out there doing his thing.
And it was like he never missed a beat.
Right.
It was so great to see Diggle back on the team.
And I jumped ahead, but the thing was really cool. We've had these moments where, in all of these shows, where you kind of have that mentor kind of thing before they got out there, where he was in his little place, his little fortress of solitude, sitting there talking with Renee, and he was just talking about to bring him back into the fold to get, and tell me what was going on.
It was
really
great to see them sort of
moment.
exchange those stories
Right,
too, because they have a similar background.
Exactly.
So it's always good to see two characters come together in that way.
And I know you're like a really good, you're a person that's really big on the character development.
Exactly.
And you found out so much about both of them.
Those are, for all of the shows, those are the scenes that really bring me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they spent a little time, not too much time. They got out what they needed to get out, and it helped propel the story boom to the next level. And you knew right then, the helmet's going back on. And, he was going out there. So now I talked about this a little bit because I was one of these guys. Look, I watched the episode, and when it was done, I literally had to get out of and go do something. I had an appointment somewhere. I had to do something. So I never saw any of the promos.
Oh, no.
Right. So I didn't see Oliver shot.
Oh, wow.
So,
you were like...
you know what I mean? I kind of put myself in like an isolation bubble.
That was some serious... You were shocked for poor Thea.
Exactly.
Poor Thea.
And
how many times does her brother have to die out there? How many times? Oh my God. At least this time she got like 5-minute warning.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like...
She's one of these people where when somebody... It's going to be like the boy who cried wolf for her. When if something ever really happened and Oliver really did kick the bucket, she'd be like, yeah, whatever.
Like 3 years later, she'd be like, I'm just waiting for him to come back.
I got his Christmas present right here. It was kind that they didn't put it through the full ringer, but still, that has to be nerve-wracking and really agonizing. But because of that whole setup of Oliver getting shot, and I guess this is why people don't like spoilers with movies and things like that, because me not knowing it was so much more satisfying. I mean, it's really. I wish they didn't have it in the promo because me not knowing made that experience made me go, nah.
How's he gonna get out of that?
What is going on?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, okay, everything is fine. The commercial's gonna come back, and then they pronounce him dead. I'm like, oh, this is for real. And in that same moment, the camera pans over, and there he is standing right there. And I was like,
another roller coaster of emotions.
I was breathing a sigh of relief, He was breathing, and then so there's Oliver. Elevator door opens. There's Oliver, and I'm like, is this the Parent Trap? But no, it was the introduction to Human Target. It not only was the title of the episode, but it was the introduction to this DC character, and it was really cool. He's a detective who can he's a bodyguard, and he does that whole Mission Impossible thing.
It's crazy that not only can he take on other people's faces, but he also is invulnerable.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, that's a little bit of his backstory of what he does to prepare. Because later on in the scene, later on in the episode, when they're out there with the guns, all of a sudden, is that Luke Cage? No, it's Human Target.
But like he said, he learns everything about his targets to become them. And so when he was out there blackmailing politicians and getting reporters' numbers, he was like, it wasn't me doing it, it was you doing it.
Exactly.
You were the one doing it.
And we
I just
found
acted
out,
like you.
The funny thing is we found out that he had an encounter with Oliver.
Yeah.
In the flashback,
But I have to admit that I was so confused by that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, does Oliver know that?
No, see, that's
So,
it. Oliver doesn't know that was him. But he knows who Oliver is.
Right,
so
exactly.
it's kind of because of the disguise, he had no idea.
Yeah, but the other people knew it was him.
Right, the other people
How did the reporter know that it was him?
I have no idea, but it's really cool. It's like they have a weird relationship because, again, it's somebody who's very familiar with you, but you're not familiar at all with the other person, which I think is going to be an interesting dynamic. Because they're acting like, because basically, Human Target's got to pretend, he's walking around pretending like, oh, glad to meet you, Mr. But he's known him for years.
Yeah, so why do you think, like, I guess my question is, why is he doing that? You know, like, why would he be hiding that from Oliver?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a very good. I don't know. Maybe we may find out in another flashback that, you know, maybe something went down and, you know, again, don't want you to know that, maybe it's the whole white Martian thing. Don't want you to know I'm that white Martian.
Right.
It could be that similar kind of thing. Maybe he did something in the
Yeah.
flashback.
I guess we're going to find out in the flashbacks, of course.
Exactly.
You're so
happened.
smart.
Exactly.
That's what storytelling is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Why do I know everything now?
Does anybody have any questions?
Let's see. Any Arrow questions we got here?
By the way, while you're looking up Arrow questions, I love that moment. Who was it with Renee? And he went straight up Aaron Paul for Breaking Bad. I'm not gonna say it because my mama raised a good young man. But he had that moment like Aaron Paul and Breaking. He's like, "Yeah, you afraid of me yet? You know, expletive." And I was like, that was kind of fun.
That is pretty fun.
He's all beat up because he's all beat up. That's now the way you like him. That's your boy because he's all beat up. He's all buff. And and yet he's asking like, oh, really?
All right, we have a question here because most people are still debating Barry's love life when you know that he's going to make babies with Iris and then Bart Allen's going to come, so stop debating it. It's fine. Lily wants to know if we can talk about the reporter and if we can kill her. So I think that it's interesting that from this very start, you know, because like I was like, okay, we're going to see Oliver maybe move on to a new relationship, and then at the end of the episode, we see that she's already working against him.
Right.
So that relationship's not going to go very far.
Right. But at the same, and she's sliding the number. That's the thing. So she's already got that two-faced thing going on. You know, she's like, you know what to do with the number, and then Oliver's like, wait a minute. You're crazy. I thought we weren't, you know. And then, so she's got some other motive going on.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys, like, do you think is she working with Prometheus or is she just working her own angle, like her reporter angle, wanting to bring down the billionaire playboy mayor?
You know, maybe it's her way to sleep her way to a story.
Oh, I hope that's not what it is.
I mean, I'm saying, you know, she's trying to get in so that now, you know, Mayor Queen will let down his guard. Because, I mean, she seemed like the anti-Lois Lane. You know, she's a reporter, but she's got that seedy tabloid mentality.
Yeah.
That dirty, nasty, sticky tabloid mentality.
You know what? Like our reporters sometimes.
Bam!
In this election cycle.
That's where I'm going with this.
Exactly.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
And I don't like her either.
But Bartholomew Allen hopes that she doesn't die. And I also hope she doesn't die just because we have seen enough women die on Arrow.
Right.
It's cool.
And again, it would be great to see if Oliver will you know, learn from being, I want to say he was never manipulated, but if he has learned from his experiences dealing with women.
Exactly.
And now
he's had some women use him.
Exactly. He's been used a bit. And you want to see that he grows into being a guy who can spot things and he's a little more competent in his relationships and his dating life.
The final big thing that happened in this episode was, speaking the topic of moving forward, we moved forward in our villains because Prometheus killed Church.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that this early. I really thought that Tobias Church was going to be around a little bit longer.
Well, I did. Okay, you know, first of all, I did. I really did. Because he promised it. And,
that's true. He did give a warning. So I guess he broke the rules. So.
Right. And he sounded like the type of person where, you know, again, kind of a Negan, where like, look, I told you there are no freebies.
That's true.
This is what you. And so
if he hadn't done it, then we wouldn't fear him.
Exactly. So if it hadn't happened this episode, then I thought that would be another element that they could drag out and like maybe bring back up in another episode. Look forward to it. The moment you saw someone looking like Arrow, like and then boom, Tobias is back in the episode. But listen, before he killed them, did you like the Arrow Tobias butt whooping?
That was a great fight scene.
That was a great fight
and
scene.
I'm not big on fight scenes. I'm like, oh, okay, they're fighting. That's cool. But like, it was like really well done, and it was just so gritty too. You know, like it seemed sloppy, like it would.
Right.
It didn't seem overly choreographed.
Right. Well, the thing that was really cool about it, like when when you're doing fight scenes for TV shows and movies, you know, you don't want your actors to get hurt, but there was a raw and grittiness to it that almost felt like you know, ultimate fighting.
Yeah.
But yet it has to be choreographed. choreographed so the actors and stunt people don't injure themselves. So I like the dirty, hands-on, raw grittiness of it, yet they were all over the place and they were really going at it with such an intensity. I was like, did somebody get hurt for real? You know, it was a
Yeah,
great
that's so
fight
true.
scene.
It was.
And then the very last thing that happened, after Prometheus killed Tobias,
Bye, Tobias.
but before that happened, Tobias, thinking that was going to be his get out of jail free
yeah,
card.
he was so smart.
He's like, Prometheus, I got to get out of death free card.
I told you, it's Oliver Queen. Are we done now? Are
And
we
he's
good?
like, yeah, thank you for that info.
Right.
You know?
Tobias was I had to say, he went out with kind of like a whimper this episode, because it was like, he was like all set up to be like big and bad, but then it's like he just like, except for that fight, the fight with Arrow was great.
The fight was
Before
great,
that, he like wasn't fighting his own fights, you know, and he was like cowering in the face of Prometheus. So it's like, you weren't all that bad, were you?
And I'm gonna jump on the not dragging thing out bus with you and go. I'm so glad they didn't drag out the whole killing of him, because once he said, "Hey, you know, Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow," they could have dragged that out for another.
Yeah, he
episode.
could have let him live
Right,
that, but he didn't.
no, he said he went
was
ahead
like,
and just
no.
killed him right away. It was done, finito, goodbye. I loved it. Now the big thing is, now we have this guy Prometheus, who is scary.
Yeah.
And he knows. I mean, the whole point of secret identity.
Because then Oliver came back to life immediately, right? So
right. And the thing is, you know, once you know someone's true identity, you don't have to attack them. You can get them by hurting the people that they love, the people that are surrounding.
And it's pretty easy to know who Oliver Queen is connected to. And ironically, it's the same people that the Green Arrow is connected to.
Exactly. So now you got to really worry about not Oliver necessarily, but his crew.
Right. Exactly.
Now all of a sudden, everybody is on like suicide watch, or, you know, death watch. Because Prometheus is out there and he can, like, you know, he knows all of the people, he knows all the players, and he's got his own quiver full of arrows too.
And that's so true.
It's crazy.
We're gonna find out what happens.
Yeah. So
next week.
Look, we've also been talking to people about some of the things they like to do. We got a lot of talented people to watch the stream.tv.
Yeah.
Talented up the yin yang. Make me look like, you know, a wind up doll. You guys are crazy. You put your artwork, you dropped some mad skills with your artwork, and we've got some here to show you. And by the way, hey, if you haven't sent us some stuff, send us stuff, because you know, we'll put it on, we'll give you a shout out. But take a look at the people who sent us some stuff right now, and they're Picasso-like magnificent work.
We're back with Legends of Tomorrow, which had a deeply uncomfortable but eye-opening, hopefully, to some of you, episode. And so, Phil, do you want to tell us how you felt watching it? Because
well, you listen. I want to look. First of all, I'm always bouncing around, and I've got all of this energy. But I got to tell you, this thing really like took me back. Really. I mean, I mentioned before last week that I'm a dad, and there's certain things in being a black man who raised a black son that you want to instill certain things in them about who they are and their culture. And it was really interesting how they took this whole concept of taking today's 21st century mentality back to 1863. And that was a powerful thing to do, because it shows you how much you really have. It shows you how fortunate and how blessed you are, even though things aren't perfect. You know, I watch the news, and I live in this town, and my hometown is Baltimore. So, you know, I'm still dealing with my family, my people going with stuff. But if you take a look at how it used to be, and the fact that in order to get to where you are now, a lot of people made tremendous sacrifices, and as Jack discovered, stood strong with it. And for me, it was personal. I was in this film called Rosewood with John Voight and Don Cheadle and some other great guys. And you know, as actors, it was about a town where this one town a white township destroyed a black township. And it was interesting because when you are doing a film, you have rehearsals. And we're rehearsing these scenes in which guys who were sitting around having a few drinks and eating lunch, but then for 12 hours, they have to dehumanize me and the other actors. You know, Esther Rolle, Don Cheadle, Ving Rhames. You know, and you're talking about great guys like John Voight and Robert Patrick. Great guys who, oh my gosh, I love their work and they're fantastic individuals. But we all left work going like, I feel horrible. And so this is a wonderful example of how you can take something that's going on in the modern days and what we want to say about society and how we should not take things for granted, the freedoms and the liberties that we have, and the freedoms and the liberties that we continue to try to work toward in this setting. And I mean, the actor, I don't remember his name, but man,
Franz Drama.
Thank you.
Franz Drama did such a great job this episode.
Great job. You nailed it, man. You crushed it. It was a great episode. And I love the way it started out. I was a little confused.
Yeah.
You know?
I liked, because like, I love what you said about it, and I think that was definitely their intention with making this episode. So I think that in some spots the execution wasn't perfect, but you could see the good intentions, and you got a great performance out of Franz Drama, and they also made sure to say that right now the present isn't perfect either, that there's still a long way to go.
Exactly.
So even though we have come far, you know, there's still so much further to go.
Done.
And I also like that they were allowed, even with the psychic connection, when Martin said to Jax, like, even though we are psychically linked, I don't know what you have gone through, and I couldn't ever know what you've gone through. And I was like, it's good that they are bringing that in. You know, like, it's not like we are all one. We've all experienced these hardships. Like, it's not true.
And he never, and he didn't take the other thing, like, I know what you've been through, because he didn't. He never had, and he never will.
Right.
You know. But the thing, so let's start out about how it started. It confused me because I saw this ship, and I'm like, who's this? And what's his
I didn't know who he was, and we never really found out. He doesn't matter.
No, he's just some pirate, some time pirate, crashed on a planet, and he's got some cooties.
Some cooties, right? You know? Just zombie cooties.
He's got some zombie cooties. What is it? TX-90 bioweapon. It's like in him, and he goes out and starts, you know, chatting it up with the local folk.
That was, and exploding on them. You know? And like, did he know he had it beforehand? I don't know. Like, we can't spend too much time on him, obviously, but that was one like really weird opening.
And the moment you saw his eyes, you're like, this is how it gets here.
Exactly.
But then that leads into like the next thing, which I thought they carried over from last week, and that's Rain Palmer trying to figure out, where do I fit in?
Yeah.
You know, he's still at that, I don't have a suit. I'm inadequate now, you know? He's got performance issues.
Yeah, and he tries, like, he's being like the comm operator at first, and they just turn it off. They don't want to hear him. Poor Ray.
You know, he was trying, I'll be Lieutenant of Oh, no, I can't do that. Okay, what do you want me to do? So it was really great to introduce that, you know, quickly and stuff. We find out the mission. We find out they've got to go out there. They got to, you know, get the ship. And along the way, they run into Henry Scott.
Yes.
Henry Scott, and again, a little bit of history telling right there. I mean, there were blacks who were free people who worked for the government. Right. And he, you know, portrayed a character who was, I guess, going to get some plans, a map. And he was supposed to take it to General Grant.
Warn the general of the ambush.
Of the enemy. Right. And so they run into him, and you know, spoiler alert, he got killed.
Oh, that was so awful to watch. That was so. I definitely didn't think he was going to die so quickly.
Right.
Like, I was like, oh, what?
Yeah. And I've mentioned it, you know, on a couple of the other shows that we've done. A lot of Walking Dead references, you know, it was a zombie show. And watching them fight, and of course, and then Mick. Mick.
Ugh, Mick gets infected.
Mick gets bit.
That was another surprising thing. You know, it's like
gets infected.
Yeah. And he's already like the most zombie-like of the members. So it was not that big of a stretch.
The thing that was really, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so bad. It was the biggest, baddest dude of them all.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you're gonna have somebody, you know, get infected, you know, maybe you want it to be Ray.
Right. Yeah, because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't have any extra powers.
I don't have my suit. You know?
But Mick being infected led to us immediately seeing what Ray's place is.
Right.
You know, like as a scientist, as the, you know, he's like coming up with the vaccine, which at first it didn't seem to work, but then we learn it just time lapse or whatever. It just takes a little while. So that was great, and we got to see Martin.
What do you think about Martin's phobia?
Oh my God, it was so hilarious, and it's always so fun to see him be flustered, you know, because he's like the professor. He's always got everything under control.
Oh no,
but when it comes to zombies,
he wasn't just flustered. No.
He
peed
cannot
his
handle it.
pants.
He
Look at
cannot
him.
handle it.
Right now, he needs some Depends on
Yeah.
because he is soiled. He is
That
not a
was-
happy
that
camper.
was so
He was
amazing.
not, it was weird. He gets a little flustered. He is overly cautious. But again, being terrified like that, no!
Right.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. But
Yeah.
like you said, we got to see Ray kind of redefine his role.
Right.
But
And by saving Mick from becoming a zombie,
Right.
we got to see them sort of grow
Exactly,
a little closer.
exactly. Yeah, that later on at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But now we get on to the side story. The side story, and this is where I thought we saw some really cool character stuff develop. You know, the conversation about Jack talking about I'm going to go out there, and I'm not going to be afraid to go out just because I'm black and it's 1863. The line, look, and this is something that maybe if you've never heard it said or if you never understood it, maybe this episode help you understand the next time you hear a black person, an African American, go, I've been black all my life. Because it really does
Right.
mean something. It's not like this is a new experience for me.
Right.
It's not like I'm not aware of it, but the
At the
crazy
same
thing
time-
was he wasn't really
Yeah, I mean, at the
prepared
same time,
for what he
of
was
course,
going to
he was
encounter.
not going to, you know,
Right.
it is a totally new level of
Oh my
awful,
gosh.
you know, of degradation,
Oh,
yeah.
It was a whole different level.
So it was really upsetting to have to watch him and Amaya both bear witness to and experience those injustices.
And I like the fact that they stepped up, though, knowing what they were going to be confronted, or at least having an idea of what the obstacles they were going to be before them. They
Right.
both said, no, we're going to go do
Yeah.
this. And then you got to see you got to see Sarah. You got to see Sarah kind of, you know, going through her thing of like, well, who am I? Like, almost like Ray Palmer, not
Yeah.
who am I, where I fit in.
Yeah, but like,
she was
what kind
having
of
some-
leader am I
Right,
gonna
she was
be?
having some
Yeah.
issues, some doubts about like
Right.
her ability.
Right,
or what-
and she doesn't like making the tough calls because she's putting people that she cares about in
in
difficult
danger.
positions.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right. You know, but so now she's got this side mission. She goes up, they meet Grant. They've got that going on.
Ulysses
Steele,
Grant was much nicer in this story than he was in real life. Just saying.
Wait, so I didn't know you met
when
him
I
in real
met
life.
him,
You know,
when I met
when
him,
you
he was
time
a
travel,
jerk.
you
He
know.
was a jerk. No, but you know, you've heard he was like a drunk. You know, he's sort of like a drunken lout. You know,
Grant wouldn't return her call.
and
I don't know.
he clearly was not like. But you know, like the way that they had the Union soldiers like react to the slaves and be like, "Oh, you come have food, come fight with." And you're like, you know, that didn't happen like that.
Yeah, no.
Just because you were anti-slavery didn't mean that you weren't also racist.
A little embellishment
Like,
on
but-
history,
yeah.
on the sci-fi show, but the fact that they were interacting. But now back to come on, Steele. Why is it Nate still like waffles
Oh yeah,
about
he
being
isn't
able to
being-
use this?
Yeah, that's true.
What is the deal with him?
I guess we're gonna sort of like Ray. We're gonna have a more drawn out like learning to just be able to control that ability, maybe.
I don't
But
know.
they didn't even really bring it up. Like literally, until you just said that, I forgot that Nate still had powers.
My point exactly. My point exactly.
Yeah.
Zombies are like, oh no, I can't really control. I'm like, dude, you should be the
Oh
one
my
stealing
God.
up and then popping these zombies.
Yeah.
Like out of everybody, he's the one that I would send out first. You go in front of us, plow the field, let us come walk in your path. But no, he's still like having these issues again. Like, I mean, I don't understand why he doesn't know what he's capable of, why he can't control it. It just seems to be a matter of convenience.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
weird.
kinda weird.
And it's
Kinda
kind of annoying. It's early. It's only,
Yeah.
it's only the second episode with the powers.
Yeah,
But I
so
hope they
hopefully we'll
don't
see
continue that out
yeah,
too
I'm
much.
sure that we're going to see that. It's sort of like they dropped the main plot this episode too.
Yeah.
You know, there was literally no memory of Reverse Flash, of Damien Dark, etc.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like that. Like they'll pick it back up next week.
Hopefully, yeah. But the idea of like, but when they did use him,
Yeah.
when they did use him, he got on top of that the dynamite.
Yeah.
The zombies were attacking. He got on top
Yeah,
of the
finally,
dynamite.
like that was
He
really
started
cool.
clicking.
Yeah,
He started clicking.
and you know, then that was so cute when Sarah was worried about him, and then
Yeah.
he comes out and he's like, "Nope, I'm cool," you know.
By the way, this is something weird thing, but shouldn't he have been naked? I mean,
That's, you know, I
Big
wonder about that with,
explosion.
with,
He
with
was
the Hulk
still-
too. You know,
Exactly, yeah.
like every time something happens like that, and you gotta change, and you're expanding, like your clothes should rip at least.
he gets on a crate of
Yeah.
dynamite. It explodes. Everything goes kaboom.
He just got the right
changes
clothes.
back, and he gets up, and he's like, "Oh, it's just got a scratch. It's just a flesh wound." You know.
Shadow Phoenix had a question, which
Yeah.
is: since Amaya is traveling outside of time with the Legends, will the JSA still remember her? And I don't know if they're going to follow their own time travel rules, but I have a feeling that they're going to still remember her. Or at the very least, once she comes back, the power of love will make them remember her.
I think maybe, yeah, you're right. I think it also maybe depending upon when they come back. If they come back at a point in time in which too much time hasn't gone by, so her memory with them is still relatively recent.
Yeah.
Then, because a lot of times with time travel, and we've seen it all, sometimes it takes a while for the wave of time, the ripple, to go through and catch up to the present moment. So, I think it's a good chance that, they'll remember.
Yeah, they probably.
A good chance, yeah.
And other, like, overarching stories, and the only one you really had in this episode was Jackson Stein hearing a little bit more of Barry's message, which is that a war is coming.
Right.
And I think you guys in the comments are dead on that that's going to relate to the crossover, right? Like, the war that's coming is the Dominators.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I like the fact they're planting little seeds.
Yeah.
And once again, they're listening to it. You got Martin and Jax, only two listening to it.
Yeah.
And I love the way, once again, they didn't let us hear it again.
No, we didn't get to hear the whole thing.
But
there's two shows right now that have some connection to the Dominators, which is Legends has Barry with that message, and Supergirl has a Daxamite. And the Daxamites in the Invasion comic book are part of the Legion that invades Earth along with the Dominators. Now, I don't know if that's going to, obviously, it's destroyed right now, but I think that maybe Mon-El will have some valuable information that he can provide to Kara when she comes over.
If they're going to follow the comic book canon, or they're going to put their own little spin to it.
Exactly.
And are they going to figure out a way? I don't even want to think about it. Time travel and crossovers, I love them. but let's leave it to the writers' room.
Exactly. I don't want to be the one writing
Let's leave it to the writers' room.
We did have that awesome moment with Mick and Ray at the end.
Yes, it was a great moment. Again, they got to share a moment with Ray helping him out. Mick kind of confessing, and I think I may have mentioned it last time about how Mick is maybe missing.
Yes, of course, he's missing his partner.
And they seem to follow through with that, and they listen to me too.
Yay! You write the show too. Good job.
But yeah, it was really cool to kind of like have a mellow moment.
Yeah.
And make that move and hand him the gun.
Exactly, when he passed him that gun and showing like that I know that you have the ability to be a great man, like Captain
You may not have the suit, but you're a smart guy. Here's something, and I'm looking for a partner.
Exactly. That was great. That was so great.
He's looking for a partner. Now, I want to step back because we talked a little bit about the situation with Jack and Amaya, but in the middle of the whole episode is him being captured.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, again, hearkening back to the difference in the mindset of 21st century. You're thinking you're being nice. I bump into you. I grab your arm and go, oh, I'm sorry, Tatiana.
Right.
And yet, all of a sudden, that could get me killed. And then hearing the story about how they were, just the dehumanization of the slaves. And it was interesting because at one point, he didn't want to save the slave who was being beaten because we got to be concerned about the mission.
They had to preserve history.
But then the line that got me was, this is the real history that needs to be fixed.
Yes, that's the aberration in history.
That's the aberration in history.
That was a great line.
I went, oh my gosh. He is now forever changed. And then it became a mission to get them all out. And it was, like I said, it was a great message. It could have been executed better.
But you can, like I said, you can see the intentions.
You see the intention, and because the fact that you and I are talking about it, it means that the message got through.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully other people that were watching also got that message.
Exactly.
The one more thing that I loved in that scene was when Amaya's talking and one of the women sees her amulet and recognizes it from her village and is like, oh, she's a warrior from that village. I want to trust her. And then everyone else is like, well, if you trust her, then I trust her.
Right.
It was lovely to see a little bit more like the Vixen, just a hint of Vixen. And then also, of course, just how someone can be inspirational and like symbols have a lot of power, and sort of like with other things like religion and all kinds that's why people are inspired by that.
Yeah, they see this and they realize it takes them to a place as something they can relate to, and it's an inspiration. But also symbolism. The other thing that I gotta kind of go, you have your moment, man. Jack's watching the house burn.
That was some like Django Unchained.
Exactly. He's like, I gotta go, but hold up, let me relish in this.
Yeah.
And it was almost like he wanted to tweet that. Yo, look, I did this. #fire. #fire. If he had a cell phone with him right now, he would be like taking a selfie with the fire, posting that everywhere.
There was just a lot of.
I'm glad he had that moment.
Yeah, because because Stein wasn't with him this episode, so he wasn't really Firestorm, but you see Jax being a hero, even when he's not a superhero.
Yeah.
And that was great.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, again, you know, I know a lot of people out of the 4 shows we talk about here on the CW, Legends, I think, is again doing that thing that Arrow's doing. It's finding his footwork.
Right.
It's finding his legs, and I think that this is going to be kind of that pivotal one that will start to connect the shows for that major, awesome crossover that we know is coming.
Yeah.
Don't keep us waiting.
We have to wait for election, and then a couple more episodes, and then a crossover.
All right, well, okay. If I have to,
it'll be okay. It'll be like a month. Don't worry. You can handle it. I know you can do it.
Okay. But listen, by the way, look, we want to again say thank you for watching us. And we also took the time, once again, to see what you people are doing and what it is that you're into. And we want to make sure that you continue sending stuff to us. Send us some memes, send us some pictures, send us some... You know, you may see some other faces popping in and out of here. And everybody that sits down at this table is just a fanatic just like us.
Yeah.
We inside and out. And even me, you know me, I like the synergy. I'll talk a little Marvel if I have to. I'll sprinkle it in. DC Universe, but we can all get along.
Yeah, exactly. We're all one. We're all one. All right, guys.
Well,
thank you so much for joining us this week, and I hope that you come back next week for more shows minus Flash.
All right. Hurry back. I'll have a cape next time. I'm bringing in capes.
More heroes should wear capes.
Capes.
Yeah.
Forget Edna. No capes. I want capes.
Bye.
See ya.